siang Pak Menteri. Ini kita menunggu dari pihak GISTDA-nya, dari pihak Thailand.
Excellency.
I will start. Yeah.
Her Excellency Ibu Amida Sosya Arijabana, Under Secretary General of United Nations and Executive Secretary of ESCAP, Dr. Pakon Apapan, Executive Director of GISTDA, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the joint launching on the publication titled Geospatial Practice for Sustainable Development in Asia and the Pacific 2020. A compendium with UNESCAP, GISTDA Thailand, and LAPAN Indonesia from Thailand. Next, I would like to invite Her Excellency Ibu Amida to deliver the statement here, please. Please welcome, Excellency.
Excellency Anek Lautamatas, Minister of Higher Education, Research, Science and Innovation, Thailand. Excellency Minister Bambang Brojonegoro of Indonesia. Mr. Pakon Apapan, Executive Director of GISTDA, Thailand. Mr. Thomas Jamaluddin, Chairman of LAPAN, Indonesia. Excellencies, distinguished representatives, ladies and gentlemen. It's my great pleasure to welcome all of you to the launch of Geospatial Practices for Sustainable Development in Asia and Pacific 2020, a compendium. I wish to extend my sincere appreciation to our co-hosts today, GISTDA Thailand and LAPAN of Indonesia. My special thanks and appreciation are also to Minister Anek Lautamatas and Minister Bambang Brojonegoro for your support, for your ministry's support to the preparation of this publication through a generous sharing of knowledge and good practices on space application for sustainable development. Welcome to all of you here with us at the Space Innovation Park in Thailand, as well as those of you who participate virtually. We meet as the world continues to grapple with the impact of COVID-19 on people's health and the unprecedented strain it has put on our economies and societies. In less than a year, the pandemic has threatened to reverse the hard-won gain towards achieving the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Notwithstanding these uniquely challenging times, spurred by the accelerated adoption of digital innovations, many countries in our region are leveraging geospatial information to provide timely evidence and insights for their responses to COVID-19. From basic topographic features on maps to complex 3D models, geospatial information and remotely sensed data can provide far-reaching solutions to the pressing issues facing us today. In 2018, ESCAP member states endorsed the Asia-Pacific Plan of Action on Space Application for Sustainable Development 2018-2030, an inclusive and country needs-driven blueprint to harness space and geospatial application and support countries to achieve the 2030 Agenda. The compendium that we will launch soon today provides an overview of the regional status and progress in all 6 thematic areas of the plan of action, namely social development, disaster risk reduction, energy, climate change, environmental resource management, and connectivity, which are based on the contribution of over 100 practices, best practice, from countries and partners in the region. I commend these countries for leveraging space application for sustainable development, and in particular countries such as Thailand and Indonesia that have been able to move quickly and generously share their expertise through regional cooperation opportunities. COVID-19 pandemic has also proven the importance of partnership between the public and private sector. For example, governments have partnered with private sector companies such as Alipay, WeChat, and certainly many of the credit card companies for tracing and tracking. Many regional and country-based efforts are sparking innovations that attract both public and private investment, supporting startups, spin-offs from space application research and pilot projects. This compendium demonstrates the diverse use for geospatial information and application, and the vital role they will continue to play in the future. It also highlights the importance of making geospatial data, tools, and innovation accessible, available, and affordable to maximize benefits to all. Key success factors include, so this is very important, yeah, to scale up further the initiative. So the key factors are investing in cultivating national experts, incorporating geospatial information into a range of national institutions and platforms, integrating geospatial data with other data sources and policies, providing open data access, and encouraging local to international collaboration, and certainly regional collaboration, yeah, regional cooperation. Investing in data-driven responses to COVID-19 will strengthen evidence-based policy making for better, or green, or more resilient and sustainable recovery. Yeah, that further will help accelerate or maintain the momentum and then accelerate the implementation of SDGs in our region. So I'm looking forward to further strengthening our partnership in the coming years. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Excellency Ibu Amida, for your statements. Thank you. And now let me present the short video presentation of the Compendium. Are you ready? Please enjoy the video presentation. This is our insightful presentation, and now I would like to invite Ms. Tiziana Bonaprache, Director of Information, Communication Technology, and Disaster Risk Reduction of ESCAP, to the podium to deliver the presentation of the key finding of the Compendium. Please welcome.
Excellency, Minister Bambang Brojonegoro, Kun Pakon, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to have this opportunity to present to you some of the key findings of our compendium on geospatial practices for sustainable development. Next. And at the outset, I would like to thank all the countries, all the members of RISAP our partner space agencies who contributed very generously the good practices, the best practices in implementation in the respective countries. And also, I'd like to thank you for all the feedback that you have provided during the preparation of the compendium. Next. The compendium is structured along the same structure as the Asia-Pacific Plan of Action on Space Applications for Sustainable Development. There are 6 thematic areas that are all associated with the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. And of the 188 actions that are in this plan, as you will see from that size of the circle, most of the actions in the plan relate to disaster risk reduction and resilience. Natural resource management comes a close second, followed by connectivity, social development, climate change, and energy. So by far, most of these space applications are in disaster risk reduction and natural resource management. Next. Now, based on that structure, the compendium explores in depth the ways in which countries are using geospatial information and the way that the over 100 based practices that have been identified contribute to sustainable development. Next. In disaster risk reduction, 18 practices are in the compendium, and they reflect the application of geospatial information at all stages of disaster risk management, both pre, during, and post-disasters. But also there are applications for building agro-ecosystem resilience, and also applications for monitoring drought, which we call a slow onset disaster. Next. And then we have selected, just to give you a flavor, a couple of a few practices that have been identified in the compendium. And we have chosen the ones that do not involve Thailand, because you're all very familiar with the practices in Thailand. And we've also chosen ones that do not concern Indonesia, because we have participants from Indonesia that have connected remotely. And of course, Indonesian practice is well known to them as well. So we've looked at other countries. And so from India, in terms of disaster risk reduction, we have chosen the example of Cyclone Fani, which hit in 2019. This was the strongest, most severe cyclone in 20 years, in 2 decades. And when the Odisha cyclone, which was of comparable strength, hit in 1999, it caused over 10,000 deaths. When Cyclone Fani hit 20 years later, it caused 81 deaths. So from 10,000 to 81. And this is, I think, value of space economy. You know, maybe it's not so much economy as maybe society, space society, and how much value do we put on a human life. And so here we see how deaths went down really in a very impressive way. And it was due to the ability of space information to track almost with pinpoint accuracy the path of the cyclone, and also the ability to analyze and assess the impacts, the people-based, economy-based impacts that the cyclone was going to have. And with that powerful information at hand, India was able to evacuate, India and Bangladesh both were able to evacuate more than 2 million people at the right time. So neither too late but neither too early. Too early, then people start to want to go back home. And I think the other example, good result here is that through cooperation and through data sharing, India was able to share its expertise with Bangladesh, a lower capacity country, but still able to achieve next to zero death rates as compared to the tens of thousands only 2 decades earlier. Next. There are 15 practices in the Compendium on natural resource management, ranging from agricultural monitoring, water management, marine and coastal management, and land use management. Next. And here we have used an example of Cambodia and China, the cooperation on the Crop Watch Cloud, which has brought universal access and easy to use templates for monitoring crops, and in particular monitoring yields. And this is through a platform and a tool that has been developed by the Chinese Academy of Sciences, and in collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture, of Forestry and Fisheries in Cambodia. The technicians in Cambodia were able to improve their crop monitoring. They were able to improve their skills in using innovative space applications, and overall food supply was also improved. And we are now, through ESCA projects, scaling this up and making it also available in customized forms in Myanmar, Thailand, and in Vietnam. Next. Connectivity. There are 8 practices that have been identified, and mostly they concern access to telecommunication services, and this has important implications for transport management and navigation, as well as urban planning. And the next, please. The example we give here is Japan's quasi-zenith satellite system. It's a navigation satellite positioning system, and it has features that go beyond the traditional global navigation satellite systems. And in particular, it is able to provide information in built-up city areas, and it is able to find a way around the problem of obstructions, due to buildings and other obstacles. And it has been found to be particularly useful in terms of emergency management information, for early warning for disasters, and it has used a variety of means of communication through SMS and through very voice communications, data communications, and very precise information. Next, please. And then there are 18 practices on social development that include health management, and I do need to also recognize the drafters, and recognize the drafters under the chairmanship of Thailand in 2018, who had the foresight to include pandemics in the Space Action Plan. So long before everybody knew how our lives in 2020 would be, there is clear guidance provided in the action plan on the contributions of space applications for the management and containment of pandemics. Next, please. And so, so in particular, the health management section includes examples of how the Asia Pacific has really, I think, been successful and has been particularly successful in leveraging geospatial information to aid the contact tracing, the hotspot mapping, and to do the analysis for policies and the policy formulations to protect people and to help build back better. Next, please. In energy, we have 6 practices, and they are mostly on renewable energy infrastructure. Next. In climate change, there are 9 practices related to climate modeling, vulnerability and risk mapping, and greenhouse gas emissions. And so taking all of these practices in these thematic areas together, we have also a section that tries to draw the commonalities that are emerging, the commonalities across the thematic areas, but also the commonalities across countries. And so I think the key trend we see is that more and more to really be of use, there is going to be an integration of geospatial and non-geospatial technologies and information for innovation. So through these innovations, we now have space application and geospatial information in the palm of our hand, all the time, without even realizing that we are, relying on satellites to enable this. Next, please. And so the 7 key success factors that we have identified from the analysis of the practices is first, the need to continue to invest in cultivating national expertise. Second is the integration of geospatial data with other data sources. Third is to use geospatial data for creating, implementing, and monitoring evidence-based policies, incorporating geospatial information into national platforms and institutions, so the mainstreaming of it, and then ensuring the privacy, safety, and ethics of data. This is becoming more and more of a thorny issue, and even as we work towards ensuring the privacy and the ethics of data, at the same time, there is a push for making data openly available, open access to data. And finally, the need for collaboration at all levels, starting from the communities through to the international levels. And then, next please. So what we are advocating for is to continue investing in people, to examine practices, to develop the processes for implementation, and then to formulate the enabling policies, what we call the 4 Ps: people, practices, processes, and policies, with the overall objective of continuing to make data, geospatial data, accessible, available, actionable, and affordable. So 4 Ps and 4 As. And finally, in conclusion, it's our hope that this compendium will promote peer learning and will promote innovative thinking. It's our hope that it will encourage regional cooperation. It will inspire increased investments in geospatial data-driven responses, and in particular that it will inspire the youth to dedicate themselves to this area of work, and particularly women scientists, which are still fewer than male scientists. And finally, it's the first compendium, and we hope it sets the baseline for monitoring the implementation of the Space Action Plan over the next decade. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your insightful information that I know you are work so hard to cover all social dimensions. Thank you. And now let's move on the next session. I would like to present the pre-recorded video of His Excellency Professor Dr. Anek Lau Thamatat, Minister of Higher Education, Science, Research and Innovation of Thailand for his statement.
Her Excellency Ibu Armida Salsia Alice Jabana, Executive Secretary of ESCAP. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, it is my great honor and pleasure to welcome all of you to the Space Innovation Park of Thailand for the official launch of the Geospatial Practices for Sustainable Development in Asia and the Pacific 2020, a compendium. This compendium, which elaborates cases from ESCAP member states, shows that space technology and its applications are undoubtedly the indispensable tools to respond to important challenges in our region. For example, disaster risk reduction, natural resources management, climate change, economic and social development, and global health. I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate and thank ESCAP and its member states for their great contributions and much valued efforts to launch this compendium. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, may I emphasize that science, technology, research, and innovation, as well as regional cooperation, are key to our social and economic development. It is therefore very essential for us to enhance our capabilities and to march together as a region. Towards our common goal, Thailand fully supports the implementation of the Asia-Pacific Plan of Action on Space Applications for Sustainable Development, 2018 to 2030. I also hope that all member states will do the same, and the plan of action will lead us to the sustainability and prosperity of our region. Together, we get stronger. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency Professor Dr. Anek Lau Thamatat, for your statement. At this time, I would like to invite His Excellency Professor Dr. Bambang Brojonegoro, Minister of Research and Technology of Indonesia, to deliver the keynote speech. Okay. Let me inform again. I would like to invite His Excellency Professor Bambang Brojonegoro, Minister of Research and Technology of Indonesia, to deliver the keynote speech. Excuse me, could you turn on the microphone, please? Okay. Excuse me, Excellency, could you turn on microphone, please? Sorry for technical problem. We try to solve this problem by hurrying to Indonesia. Please wait for a while.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Excellency, Ibu Armida Ali Syabana, Executive Secretary of UNESCAP, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, participants, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, it is an honor for me to be invited in this event. I would also like to congratulate on the launching.
We try to solve this problem by hurrying to Indonesia. Please wait for a while.
Hello? Is it okay now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe there's a delay.
Excellency, Ibu Armida Ali Syabana, Executive Secretary of UNESCAP, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, participants, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, it is an honor for me to be invited in this event. I would also like to congratulate on the launching.
We try to solve this problem by hurrying to Indonesia. Please wait for a while.
Hello? Is it okay now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I would also like to congratulate on the launching of the ESCAP publication entitled Geospatial Practices for Sustainable Development in Asia and the Pacific 2020, a compendium. I hope this publication will be as useful as a guidance for providing an evidence-based policy in regards to the vital role of geospatial information and application, especially during this unprecedented time. Indonesia has a vision to be a high-income country in 2045, 100 years of our independence. Fostering innovation and technology could be the answer to transform our economy from resource-driven economy into an innovation-driven economy, as well as to escape from the middle-income trap. In the era of Industrial Revolution 4.0, innovation and technology had rapidly developed, including geospatial services. It is deeply embedded in our daily activities, such as weather forecasting maps, navigation system, and online deliveries. Geospatial services use technology such as artificial intelligence, big data, the Internet of Things or IoT, and cloud computing to bring new and innovative solutions to solve global problems. Nowadays, the breakout of COVID-19 pandemic that occurred simultaneously around the globe has caught us by surprise. The application of geospatial technology is very essential in responding to this pandemic. For example, the acquisition of geospatial data from multiple sources, including high-resolution satellite data, disaster risk resilience during the pandemic, distribution analysis, and availability of food and medical supplies. In doing so, we are implementing the triple helix approach among the government, academies, and industry to produce innovation and technology, including in the geospatial sector. This approach is needed because there is a gap between what the market needs with what the academics research. The ministry acts as an integrator between the two through policy instruments. Hopefully, the innovation that has been done could be commercialized into the market. Finally, to strengthen research and innovation readiness and response to the COVID-19 pandemic, identified solutions for medical research and development must be implemented. Indonesia, as a part of Asia-Pacific region, has the potential to achieve developmental transformation that will serve as a global model of the cooperative use of innovative technologies for the common good. All the ESCAP countries are urgently needed to strengthen collaboration in order to increase the opportunities to build and progress geospatial technology through research and knowledge sharing, funding mechanism, global and national research capability, technical support, as well as intergovernmental discussion and regional practices. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Minister Bambang Bojoro, for your speech. Now I would like to invite Dr. Pakon Apapan, Executive Director of GISTDA, Thailand, to give statement, please.
Your Excellency, Ibu Amita Sasia Alice Jabana, Executive Secretary of ESCAP, Excellencies, distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Space Co-Innovation Park today. I'm very glad to be here at this important event, the official joint launch of the Geospatial Practices for Sustainable Development in Asia and the Pacific 2020, a compendium. In Asia Pacific, it's a one huge region. Thanks to ESCAP for bridging us together through the strengthened regional cooperation, and as a result, no one left behind. Under this SAP, we have been working closely with ESCAP for many years, and also with the member states to ensure the space technology and its applications will reach the people in need. A compendium is one of the good outcomes of united effort and contributions. Over 100 cases from our region shown in this compendium can prove my statement, of course. We all know that the space technology and its application can greatly contribute more to social and economic development to our regions. For that reason, it will be our challenge and to emphasize and enlarge to benefit to the right influencers, such as government, policymakers, decision makers, and entrepreneurs, and so on. Your Excellency, I believe under your notable leadership, ESCAP will elevate regional capability for sure on contributions of STI to sustainable development and help all member states to access, use, and develop these key technologies and innovations for the current regional issues and still unknown crisis for the future. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of things that need to be done to accomplish the implementation of our Asia-Pacific Plan of Action on Space Applications for Sustainable Development 2018-2030. We are fully open for any cooperation and look forward to collaboration with all of you. Let's work side by side and moving together to the sustainable and prosperous region. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pakon Apapan, for your statement. And now, may I invite Dr. Thomas Jamaluddin, Chairman of National Institute of Aeronautics and Space, or so-called LAPAN of Indonesia, to deliver the statement, please.
Thank you. Excellency Ibu Armida Ali Shahbana, Executive Secretary of ESCAP, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, it is my pleasure today to attend the launch of Geospatial Practices for Sustainable Development in Asia and Pacific 2020, a compendium. In this special opportunity, I would like to express our sincere appreciation to UN ESCAP and GISTDA for conducting this excellent event. Distinguished delegates, space technology is very important to achieve Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, and Indonesia has utilized space-based technology to support the achievement of the SDGs. In the Asia-Pacific region, we have planned of action for a space technology application 2018 to 2030 in order to achieve those SDGs. At least 6 SDGs can be supported by remote sensing technology at LAPAN by conducting joint research with other agencies with the aim of providing remote sensing data and information that can be accelerate the implementation. SDGs 02, Zero Hunger. With the remote sensing technology, we support Ministry of Agriculture to monitor the paddy growth. It can be used to estimate paddy production and disturbance detection. SDGs 06, Clean Water and Sanitation. Indonesia has made a remote sensing book which contains lake change for years using remote sensing data. The analyzed parameters are shrinkage of lake water, lake vegetation condition, and water quality. We finalized the analysis of 15 priority watershed and lakes in Indonesia. We analyzed the change from 1990 to 2020. SDGs 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities. LAPAN, together with UN ESCAP, support the development of smart cities platform in Makassar and Bandung City. SDGs 13, Climate Action. Concerning the space-based disaster management support, Indonesia has utilized remote sensing data for disaster early warning system development and disaster impact analysis to support disaster mitigation, including early warning, emergency responses, and post-disaster management activities. These activities are coordinated through the Indonesian National Disaster Management Authority, or BNPB, with a support of LAPAN. LAPAN has provided quick response and rapid mapping of disaster areas based on remote sensing satellite data for Indonesia Disaster Management Agency, BNPB, and other agencies. LAPAN has contributed to provide near real-time hotspot information to support the Ministry of Environment and Forestry to monitor forest change and also other relevant stakeholders and public. SDGs 14, Life Below Water. Indonesia has developed remote sensing satellite-based monitor system on natural resources and environment, or CIPANDA. The system provides information intended as input for stakeholders, among others, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Environment and Forestry, Ministry of Marine Affairs and Fisheries, local government both at the central and regional level for the management of natural resources and sustainable environment, water resources, and lake quality, identification of mangrove, coral reef, potential fishing zone are example of the products. SDGs 15, Life on Land. LAPAN has monitored land degradation and the land resources by remote sensing technology. Ladies and gentlemen, this compendium is a good example how space technology can be implemented in many ESCAP member states to monitor natural disaster risk and natural resources. Space technology also can be used to support social economic effort to make better energy and connectivity management. Problem of climate change and COVID-19 may be tackled by using space-based geospatial approach. Lesson learned from geospatial practices in Asia Pacific in this compendium may be used for policymakers in applying space technology. Indonesia look forward to continuing our participation in this effort to develop a visionary documentation as the foundation of the future work. To conclude, I hope this event will be beneficial for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jamaluddin. Thank you for your statement. It's so useful for us. And now we are coming to the question and answer session. This is the last session for today. Since the time is quite tight, so we can allow a few questions to be answered here. We will give one question for each speaker to respond. Okay, let me start. The first question for ESCAP. Okay, from Mr. Hyon Bo Kim. The question is, what do you think that space application can support the countries in this region to achieve sustainable development goal, and how ESCAP can facilitate the process through enhanced regional?
Thank you very much for the question. Again, the application of this space technology and application, for our region, considering that countries in our region are very diverse, from countries archipelagic countries such as countries in the Pacific, Indonesia, and so on, as well as countries that are basically land-based, or countries that are prone to natural disaster and so on. So therefore, the space technology application are very useful, in this sense. First is how to also foster this unity, in national development, especially for countries that are diverse and spans or covers a quite wide area and comprises of many islands. So in terms of communication, how to have a more effective and efficient communication line, how to have a more effective and efficient, for example, payment system, education, and so on and so forth, to help, in the economic development, economic and social development. That's one. Second is also the application for a specific purposes. We can relate that directly to SDGs, any of the SDG goals. But if we can refer directly to the Asia Pacific action plan on this space application, the 6 thematic areas, then we can directly refer to that. Disaster risk reduction, connectivity, energy, and then environment, natural resource management, and climate change. And you can see many of the examples, whether countries such as Thailand, the flood monitoring, pollution, air pollution monitoring, and so on. And lastly, how also, this information can fit not only for information purposes, early warning system preparedness, better preparation, but also to come up with solution. Now for that, then the regional cooperation, is very important because no solution can be only be found by one party or one country alone. By collaborating among countries, region, whether Southeast Asia or Asia Pacific, then countries can work together, leverage on their own on the various experience and also practices that they can come up with then much better solution. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Her Excellency Ibu Amida, to respond this question that Your Excellency focused about the collaboration in the Southeast Asia and the Pacific is the key to achieve the sustainable development in this area. Thank you. And the second question for GISTDA. The question from Mr. Keith Dewanto. Dr. Pakon Apapan, as the Executive Director of GISTDA, what is your plan to successfully implement the Asia-Pacific Plan of Action, please?
Well, this is a very, very important mission for GISTDA. In fact, think of this very important plan, so far I think of three P tools that we can support and we can help the project can be done successfully. First P is people. I think we need to strengthen our people by capacity building. We have the so-called CGI program. This one, the master degree course. We have the non-degree courses and many programs to upskill people in regional area. I think through this program, we can get more knowledge sharing among the region. The second P is, I think, about partnership. I think we need partnership with this collaboration, coordination. In many projects, we need to do together. It cannot be only one country. For example, disaster management and agriculture, pollution is no boundary among the countries. I think then coordination or partnership is very important, key factor for us to make the program possible and successful. And last but not least, P, I think it's a promotion. Promotion is also important. We need to promote this program to the policy level, to the even private sector, or internal and many sections that they recognize the program, this project, so then they can. I think once they recognize, they can utilize the technologies. They can be our partners, then work together. I think then these three P's is very important factors for us to make sure that the program can be successfully launched.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Pakon Apapan. That gives us the plan to successfully implement with TP, people, partnership, and promotion. Thank you very much. And the third question for LAPAN from Mr. Rhys Newman Pursoon. What is the best practice in Indonesia in providing satellite data to support policy maker? I will hand over to Dr. Jamaluddin to respond this question.
Thank you. So Indonesia is the big country. We need satellite data for monitoring the natural resources, environment, as well as the disaster management. So we provide the data to all government institutions as well as the local government. And since 2012, there is the presidential instruction to make one single national data bank of remote sensing, and LAPAN is the only one institution to provide such of the remote sensing data. So this effort to make the efficient in budget to providing the remote sensing data. And in 2013, there is the space law to manage how the space technology can give the benefit to the national, including how the remote sensing also provide benefit in planning, in making the regional planning, and also in monitoring the natural resources and environment. So since then, the LAPAN make the National Remote Sensing Data Bank and provide the remote sensing data to all government institutions, the Ministry of Forestry and Environment, Ministry of Agriculture, for the National Agency for Disaster Management, and so on. We provide the remote sensing data free of charge. Also to the local government, because local government should make the regional planning, and this should be based on the remote sensing data, as well as for the monitoring of the natural resources, environment, and other disaster mitigation effort. So we provide the data to the local government also this free of charge. We also make the what is called the National Earth Observation System. So we provide the all information concerning the remote sensing data for the natural resources, environment, and disaster to local government, and we make cascading or the develop of from the national Earth observation system to be the province Earth observation system. So such kind of system has been made in LAPAN, National Data Bank, which provide the remote sensing data to all government institutions in central government as well as the local government free of charge. And also because we collect the remote sensing data based on the government license, so we can distribute the remote sensing data free of charge to all the government institutions, including the local government. And also we provide also the interpretation how to implement the remote sensing data in making the regional planning and in monitoring the environment and natural resources as well as the disaster management. This what we do as the only government institution. LAPAN is the only government institution to provide the remote sensing data to all policymakers. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jamaluddin. Thank you to give us some information from Indonesia that you use to support in the national level. Thank you so much. And thank you very much for our informative answer from you. And we are now coming to the end of our hybrid joy launching today. Thank you very much for all of you to join us. Additional questions or comments will be corrected and answered. And for the report, it is now available online at www.unscap.org. You can download and see it in our website. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a good afternoon. We finished the session, but last but not least, we have next program in the excursion by Mr. Bunchup Bungthong, Director of Satellite Operations Center, to bring us to see the business around Space Innovation Park. Thank you, everyone. สวัสดีค่ะ